Yes, guys, hello and good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. Is it Tuesday, guys? You tell me. I have no idea what day it is. Are we on Tuesday or not? Yeah, we are. We're on Tuesday. Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. We're going to have a bit of a reaction about the Premier League fixtures. Those are coming out any moment now. Who are your Who is your team? Who are you looking forward to? What is the most important fixture on the list for you? All that and more. We'll be looking at the derbies. We'll be looking at everything that's going on. It's an impromptu live stream, is this one? I haven't done very much to prepare for it, but I can tell you very shortly that the Premier League fixtures are coming out in the UK, and of course, we're going to be looking for all the big ones, especially the derbies, the London derbies, the Manchester derby, of course, the Liverpool derby. All the other derbies that are there or thereabouts. Of course, it's going to be fascinating. It's something that I wish Leeds, my team, would be interested in. I think it's going to be a huge, huge season yet again. The Premier League just keeps getting more popular worldwide, both in the UK and overseas. You know, a lot of my viewers come from overseas. They don't come from the United Kingdom. So we're going to be talking about all your favourite teams. Of course, if you can't remember what the EPL league finished last year, Manchester City won the league with a total of 91 points, followed by Arsenal on 89 points. Can Arsenal go one better? They just seem to be the bottle jobs of the league, don't they? Arsenal. They don't seem to just have enough over Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. Liverpool last season doing really, really well, and then they just fell away towards the back end. Again, I think they suffered from one defeat in Europe, and after Alitalia, I think it was Atalanta, and unfortunately, they just let the points slip away, and they, of course, uh, ended up finishing over 9 points behind, just 9 points behind Manchester City. There's a big that gap then until fourth place. Aston Villa finish on 68th, 68 points, should I say? We'll talk a little bit about the clubs who finished a little bit lower down in a moment or two. I'm just waiting for those things to load up. The Premier League fixture list, guys, is coming out. I'm excited for another season of football. It's due out in about 4 to 5 minutes. So as soon as it comes out, uh, I'll I'll be first. Well, at first, hopefully, to have it, and we'll certainly be talking a little bit about the big fixtures that are there. After Aston Villa, of course, Tottenham Hotspur, they finished on fifth place at 74 points. Chelsea finishing in sixth, very respectable because they were floundering in the lower mid-table positions for a long, long time, and then they towards the end of the season, Pochettino ended up putting a string of wins together, helped a lot by Cole Palmer, and they eventually finished with a goal difference of 14, plus 14. Newcastle United finished slightly below Chelsea on 60 points, and they had 23 goal difference. And then below them, the FA Cup holders, Manchester United, FA Cup winners, should I say, the Scummers, got 60 points, minus one goal difference. I think they broke a lot of records in the last season, Scummers. So, uh, big up to them. Hopefully, they can have a worse season next season. That'd be brilliant. West Ham finishing on ninth at 52 points. Crystal Palace finishing 10th. They had a very good season and some really good players in that side who I expect to see more from next season. 49 points for Crystal Palace. Brighton in 11th place, 48 points, and -7. I mean, they were doing really well first third of the season, and they just fell away, didn't they? They started getting found out, and they lost a lot of momentum going into Christmas period, I believe. Bournemouth did all right. A couple of ex-Leeds players there, Tyler Adams and Sinistera, finishing 12th, 48 points. Fulham finished 13th, 47 points. Wolves 46 points. Let me know, chat. Who are you looking for? Who's your team? What's the fixture that you're looking for? Of course, we'll have that all right here as soon as I get it. I'll share it with you. And yeah, it's all coming out any moment now, guys. Okay, so let me know. I want to know. I want to know who you're looking for. Of course, for me, I'm looking for. I enjoy watching Liverpool play the odd game. Anybody who's half decent who could be playing Scummers, where Scummers look like they're going to get a pace in. Of course, City and other teams as well. It's an amazing amazing event. Sorry about this. There's kids screaming in bloody background. It's distracting me completely from what we're here for. And are we here yet? Have we got the fixtures? Pre-season fixtures. They're about to release it, chat. They're about to release it. They're updating website as we speak, I think. No mid-season break. So I'll tell you a little bit about this. It's coming out very shortly. 380 matches will be released on Premier League, and the official app will be there as well. So make sure that you're syncing your calendars. Make sure that you've got that sorted out, of course, with your team. The Premier League app has got a really good app. You put your team in there, sync your calendar, and it'll sync your Google Calendar or your Apple Calendar or whatever it is into your mobile device. And of course, once you've synced your calendar and your mobile devices, you'll know when your team's playing and you'll get a heads up. You won't even have to look around for fixtures because it'll all be there on your phone. In keeping with previous commitments made for clubs to address the congested schedule across Christmas, New Year, arrangements will be made to allow more rest time over three of the festive match rounds, with no club playing within 60 hours of another match. So there's going to be a minimum 60-hour break between games over the Christmas period. There will be no fixtures on Christmas Eve. Okay, 24th of December. The mid-season break has also been removed from the calendar to allow a mid-August start date for Premier League clubs. Right, so there's going to be quite a few adjustments in here. The longer summer break allows Premier League clubs to be better able to ensure that players get a consecutive 3-week break in summer. This takes into account expert advice from medical and technical departments, which value a longer period of complete rest in the summer rather than a shorter break in the winter. So now they've been, I think that's been, there's been a bit of a change down there, hasn't there? They're, they're talking about having a Christmas break and a winter break, and now that was going back quite a while ago. But obviously, it sounds like they're bidding that off, and they're going for they're going for a longer summer break. Chat, who are you looking for? What's your favourite club? What's your favourite team? What's the big fixture that you're looking for? All that and more will be coming up. We're just waiting to get that over. It has been released. I'm being told, and as soon as we get that available to display, we shall have it up on the screen just as quickly as possible. Right, so here we go. It's just getting it now, actually. All clubs, Premier League, all clubs. Right, okay, so it's coming out just now as it happens. Yeah, I mean, especially the bigger clubs, Guardiola was complaining about it. Klopp was complaining about the fixture congestions. There was a lot of moaning and groaning, especially with the European games and stuff like that. Getting into it. Right, here we are, chat. We've got something for you. First game is on Friday, 16th of August. It's Scummers versus Fulham. That one's on Sky Sports. Saturday on the 17th of August, first game for Ipswich. Oh, it's a massive game for Ipswich. Massive game for Ipswich. They're against Liverpool on TNT Sports. On the same day, it's Arsenal versus Wolves, Everton versus Brighton, Newcastle United versus Southampton, Nottingham Forest versus Bournemouth, and West Ham versus Aston Villa. So a huge game there, chat. I'm going to get these up on screen and I'll discuss them and talk them through with you as well. I know you're all a bit excited about this massive week of fixtures. It says here, I'm just going to read this out for you, just in case you're on a mobile device or you're struggling to see for whatever reason. There is a couple of PNGs that I'm going to try and get those downloaded as well. So that's it. The first fixture, Scummers versus Fulham, is the first fixture. It's an 8 p.m. kickoff, 16th of August. And there's a digital calendar. Once you go into this website, I'll put the link in there. And then, of course, you can go and have a look at that in a minute or two. Just stick with us while I try to obviously get the channel up and going and a bit of watch time. I'm excited because I do watch a lot of Premier League during my time off and stuff like that. So, I don't generally do watch-alongs on other teams, but you never know. We might be doing a bit more this year. Let's see what happens. Sunday, this is the opening weekend, of course. Brentford versus Crystal Palace, Sky Sports. Chelsea versus Manchester City. I mean, what a fixture to open the season with. It's a massive fixture. And Chelsea will be looking to try and upend Manchester City there, stop Pep from nicking 3 points out of the bridge. It's going to be a massive game. Leicester versus Spurs is the first game for Leicester City. Let me know in the chat, what are you looking for? What is there a fixture you're looking for, guys? Of course, I'll try and find it as soon as we possibly can. And, I'll get that displayed on the screen for you as well. AFC, but Bournemouth versus Newcastle United. This is the following weekend, of course, on the 24th of August. Bournemouth and Newcastle United, Villa and Arsenal. That'll be a tough match for Arsenal. Villa are a decent side with Unai Emery at the helm still there at Villa. And, they've finished quite up the league. Arsenal, I don't think they'll be too concerned. They'll expect to win there. But opening weekend, or opening couple of weeks, anything can happen. Brighton at home to Scummers. Palace versus West Ham. Fulham versus Leicester. So Leicester travel to London on the second weekend. And Liverpool at home to Brentford. Manchester City. Whoa, wow. Manchester City, Ipswich Town are going to find out then, aren't they, if they're a good side or not. Ipswich Town have to travel to Manchester City. Southampton after they played at home against Forest. Spurs versus Everton. Wolves versus Chelsea. So the promoted sides have got it really, really rough there, haven't they? I mean, they've got... what have they got there? Let's have a look. Just to recap that, Leicester travelling to Spurs. I think that's all. That might all be match day one, isn't it? Because it's 17th, 18th, 19th. And we'll try and get that shown just as soon as we possibly can. So here we are, chat. It's all right here, and they're putting all of this into something that's easy to understand. Graphics. So match week one, a massive fixture. Scummers versus Fulham is the first one. Ipswich at home to Liverpool. I mean, the Ipswich have got a really rough opening start. They've got it pretty, but that's what you wished for. Hopefully Liverpool will go there, give them a good hiding. Newcastle, Arsenal versus Wolves. Everton versus Brighton. Newcastle versus Southampton. Forest versus Bournemouth. West Ham versus Villa, just a recap on this one. Brentford versus Palace on the Sunday, the 18th. Chelsea versus Manchester City, a massive fixture. And Leicester have got it rough here. They've got a very good Spurs side visiting them as well. So we'll have a look at that. More and more. Ten Hag said that he's in talks to sign a new deal. Of course, Scum has finished 8th last season with the lowest points total in the Premier League era. I mean, that's just despicable, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I don't really blame Ten Hag, to be honest with you. I think he's got a lot of sour players in that dressing room, and they need a clear out, don't they, to be honest with you. So that's my opinion, chat. You let me know what you think. And of course, we'll try and get on and have a look at some of these other fixtures as well. Manchester City will be starting their defence at Chelsea. They've got all of this pre-written, so we're not going to go in too much into that. We're not going to show any video either from the Premier League, because we can't do that, because obviously it's copyright infringements, and we don't want any of those in our channel. So let's have a look, see if we can show you the other fixtures as well, chat, because I know you'll be desperate to find out. Some of you will be looking for certain fixtures, some of you will be looking for other fixtures. It looks like they're all updating this sort of stuff now. It is changing by the minute. And Aston Villa, the Hammers' new head coach, Lopetegui, going, and Villa manager Unai Emery, and they were born 40 kilometres apart from each other in the Guipuscoa region of northern Spain. I don't know if I got that right or not, but we'll talk about that in a minute or two. Massive opening weekend for the Premier League, especially for those newly promoted teams. The ones to look out for, of course, Leicester away at home at Spurs, against Spurs, should I say. The other two, Southampton, have to travel up to Newcastle. I mean, that'll be a tough match for them. A massive game. And of course, Ipswich, massive fixture for you guys at home against a Liverpool side under the new manager there. So there's a lot of changes going on, swings and roundabouts. It's going to be difficult to see. You can't say who's going to win. I mean, you think automatically Liverpool have got that one in the bag, haven't they? But you never know. Arne Slot might come in. He might have some new ideas. It might take him a little bit of time to adjust. Manchester derby coming up in a minute or two. As soon as we find out a bit more about that, I'll let you know. Massive fixtures. Leicester, Spurs, and we'll talk a bit about the other ones as well. Forest at home at Bournemouth. Everton home at Brighton, Arsenal home to Wolves. Very good Wolves side as well, finishing really well last season. So a lot to be to consider. We're going to try and find the next match week. If that's out yet or not, I don't know. That they are preparing all of this stuff. I imagine it's all already done, and as soon as they've got that sorted out, they'll let us know more about those fixtures. So it's all complete. Yeah, we're not bothered about that. We just wanted to stay in the real Premier League. Let's have a look. We'll try and go in there. No, can't find it. It's all on digital calendar. So we'll just looking to see if they've got any graphics that show us what when the Manchester derbies are. Of course, the London derbies, the big ones, the Chelsea, Arsenal. See dates, right? Okay, it's all there. It says we can see it, so we'll go in there and see it. Some of the new artwork as well have changed a bit of that, and they've made it a little bit. They're always modernising it and stuff like that, aren't they? Let's have a look at this one. Okay, so match week 1, and we're going to get on to match week 2 as well, and every other match week as well. As many as match weeks as we can possibly display during this live stream, because at the minute I think, here we are. Look, there's more appearing, right? More appearing, and of course with that there's going to be more new graphics and stuff like that. So as soon as those graphics are available, we'll have a look at those. Right, okay, so we've done the opening weekend. We've done week 2 as well. I think week 3 Saturday, the 31st of August, Arsenal, Brighton, Brentford, Southampton, Chelsea versus Palace, Everton versus Bournemouth, Ipswich, Fulham, Leicester at home to Villa, big match that, Midlands derby. Scummers are playing Liverpool on 31st of August, chat. These are all subject to change. Sky will be dipping the fingers in and making sure that, they get everything sorted out and they change all their change the TV schedule around. Of course, if you're joining or you want to join on this one, massive fixtures, and we'll try and get some news banners up there in a minute or two for the newly promoted clubs. Manchester, Scummers, Liverpool, Newcastle, of course, versus Spurs, Forest versus Wolves, and West Ham versus Man City on that second weekend. Fantastic. Right, then there's a break. So there's a bit of a break there. So you imagine that there's probably going to be, I don't know what that might be, probably a friendly, an England friendly or something like that. Bournemouth, Chelsea. It is updated, is this page, chat, so it's taking a little bit of time to load. Bournemouth at home to Chelsea, Villa at home to Everton, Brighton versus Ipswich, Palace versus Leicester City, Fulham versus West Ham, Liverpool versus Forest, Manchester City versus Brentford, Southampton can expect the Scummers at St Mary's in September. And here we are, the big London derby, Spurs at home to Arsenal. Massive fixture in London, and of course, it'll be, will it be come on you Spurs, come on you Arsenal? Ooh, that's it really, isn't it? Saturday, 21st of September. Is that another, that's the following week then, right? So, Villa versus Wolves, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, Palace versus Scummers. Let's hope there for a Palace win. They're a bit of a bogey side of Palace. Nobody likes playing them. Fulham versus Newcastle, Leicester versus Everton, Liverpool versus Bournemouth, City versus Arsenal, Southampton and Ipswich, Spurs versus Brentford, West Ham versus Chelsea. Right, next weekend, following weekend. I'm just like I say, it's taking. They are loading this because the page is actually being adjusted as we speak. I think Saturday, 28th of September, Bournemouth, Southampton, Arsenal versus Leicester. You can see I'm not touching that, and the screen's adjusted itself. So there's more data being added to this page as we're talking. Of course, there's going to be graphics coming out and all that sort of stuff. It might be a bit difficult to display graphics. Arsenal, Leicester, another massive fixture for Leicester there in first weekend. First 30 days, really. It's I think they play a couple of really big sides there. Brentford, West Ham, Chelsea versus Brighton, Everton versus Palace, Ipswich versus Aston Villa, Man United, Scummers versus Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. I'll be chanting that on that day, I'll tell you. Newcastle versus Man City, Forest versus Fulham, Wolves versus Liverpool. 5th of October. If anybody wants to join me on this one as well, you can always join me. Just say so, chat. I've got a little red button here. It tells me if you're chatting. If you want to join, want to help me read some of these out, go right ahead. I'll put a little fixture. Put a link in there if you want to join. Maybe you fancy a chance helping me read some of these out as we go through. Arsenal versus Southampton, Villa versus Scummers, Brentford Wolves, Brighton Spurs, Chelsea versus Forest. Massive fixture for Forest. Maybe Forest could be relegation fodder again this season. Who knows? Palace and Liverpool, Everton, Newcastle, Leicester, Bournemouth, City versus Fulham, West Ham versus Ipswich Town. So massive fixtures there, chat. All right. If you want to join me, there's a link at the top of the page. Maybe you can go ahead and read some of these out. It's quite a task is this one. But anyway, that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing this morning. Just because I think it's such an interesting thing. Of course, there'll be people in my subscriber or audience who are interested to see about the teams and stuff, because I do have a lot of non-Leeds fans. Interestingly enough, because the channel started when we were actually in the Premier League, so I had quite a few non-Leeds fans joining the channel at that time. Bournemouth versus Arsenal, Fulham, Villa, Ipswich versus Everton. That'll be a tough clash. Will that? Ipswich will be looking to pick points up of that one. Liverpool, Chelsea, the big one. That's a big match. United versus Brentford, Newcastle, Brighton, Forest versus Palace, Southampton versus Leicester, Spurs versus West Ham, Wolves versus Manchester City. Then it's a very important weekend. If we make it to that weekend, for me personally, Arsenal, Liverpool, massive fixture. Villa versus Bournemouth, Brentford versus Ipswich, Brighton versus Wolves, Chelsea, Newcastle United, Palace versus Spurs, Everton, Fulham, Leicester, Nottingham Forest, City versus Southampton. Another big fixture there. The newly promoted Southampton qualifying for the Premier League through the playoffs versus the champions. Can Southampton get anything at the Etihad? I very much doubt it. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. And of course, the one we all want, it'll be come on, you Irons. It'll be West Ham versus Scummers down at the, I think it's, do they call it the Olympic Stadium? You let me know, chat, if I'm wrong. If you want to join, of course, you're more than welcome. Just press that link there, mute YouTube, and you can join us. No software required, no account sign up required. Press the link, just join. It's got your name on, boom, and you're in. Bournemouth, Saturday, 2nd of November. Bournemouth, Man City, Fulham versus Brentford, Ipswich versus Leicester, Liverpool versus Brighton, Scummers versus more Scummers, Chelsea, Newcastle, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest versus West Ham, Southampton, Everton, Spurs, Villa, Wolves, Palace. Right, so of course you're going to be looking out for if there's anybody from Midlands joining. They'll be looking for those teams as well. 9th of November, Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton City, Chelsea, Arsenal, massive London derby. It's another one. There you go. And Palace, Fulham, another London derby. It looks like we're getting into London derby month, I suppose. Liverpool, Villa, Scummers versus Leicester, Forest versus Newcastle. Of course, I'm looking out for Forest. One of my mates is a keen Forest fan. He's has been all his life. Spurs, Ipswich, another massive fixture there for the newly promoted Ipswich. West Ham, Everton, Wolves, Southampton. Did I mention Leicester there as well? I think I did, didn't I? Yeah, Leicester versus Leicester. Look at that. Having to go to Scum in November. So that'll be a big fixture for them. All right. Hello, chat. Hello, everybody. If you're joining, I know quite a few people are joining here. So if you've got any thoughts or questions, if you want to know about your favorite team, let me know, and I'll try and find it. I'll try and dig it out and display it as soon as I possibly can. All right. What fixture are you excited for? Of course, if you're new to the channel and you do want to help me out. Remember, of course, don't click any links unless you see it from me or my moderators. Thank you so much. We won't be doing that anyway. I'll be putting a link into this page in a minute. Smash a like and subscribe and help us grow the channel. I love that if you do that for me. That'd really help us out. 23rd of November, Bournemouth versus Brighton, Arsenal, Forest, Villa, Palace, Everton, Brentford, Fulham, Wolves, Ipswich again there. Look at that. Ipswich versus the Scummers. So they've got Spurs and then Scummers. There's no easy weeks in the Premier League. No easy weeks at all. Not for newly promoted side. I think they're gonna struggle. Another newly promoted side there. Leicester, Chelsea, City versus Spurs as well. That's another one to look out for. It'll be a big fixture. Can Big Ange pull one over on Pep? I doubt it myself, to be honest with you. They're just. Mind you, I think they did all right last season, didn't they? Spurs against City. You tell me, chat, if you can remember those scores or remember the results. I'll display your comments and get them up on the screen. Right, here comes the next one. Next match week, Brentford, Leicester. They're a good, well-established side. Brentford in Premier League, they've been there a few years now. Leicester are going to get it's. That's going to be a really important fixture for Leicester to gauge where they are in terms of the finishing weeks. I think if they can get a result against Brentford, I think they'll probably be safe, but you never know. It might be a bit early to talk about promotion, relegations, or promotions just yet. I mean, we don't. We're only just finding out the fixtures. There's a transfer window to sort out yet. Brighton, Southampton, Chelsea, Villa, Palace, Newcastle, Liverpool's that big match. Big match there, guys. Big match there. End of November. Some big matches coming now as we go into Christmas period as well. Spurs versus Everton, Forest versus Ipswich, Spurs, Fulham, West Ham, Arsenal, Wolves, Bournemouth. Wow. Then Bournemouth don't get much of a break there, do they? Look at that, 30th to the 3rd of December. It starts picking up and getting a bit busier here now by the look of it. Bournemouth, Spurs, Arsenal versus Scummers at the Emirates, Villa, Brentford, Ipswich, Palace. Sorry, Fulham, Brighton, Ipswich versus Palace. Big fixtures there for the newly promoted Ipswich Town. And then, of course, the Championship champions, Leicester, but entertain West Ham. So I'll be hoping for West Ham to go there and get a result. 4th of December. Oh, look at all the football fixtures in December, chat. What a Christmas this is going to be. City versus Forest, Newcastle, Liverpool, Southampton, Chelsea, 7th of December. And like I say, this page, it's really difficult to wind down this page because it looks like it's still loaded or they're doing something with it. 380 odd fixtures. We're nearly halfway. Let's keep going. Villa, Southampton, Brentford, Newcastle, Palace versus City, Everton versus Liverpool, Fulham, Arsenal, Ipswich versus Bournemouth, Leicester City versus Brighton, Scummers versus Forest. Come on, Forest, go there and get a result. Spurs versus Chelsea, another huge London derby, chat. Another huge London derby. Massive event. I can't wait for it, to be honest with you. What games are you looking forward to? Right, okay, so I'll just put something up there. What games are you looking forward to, chat? You let us know, and then of course I'll try and find them for you. West Ham versus Wolves, 7th of December. Let's have a look. We're going deeper into December now, halfway into December. Bournemouth, West Ham, Arsenal, Everton, Brighton, Palace, Chelsea, Brentford, Liverpool, Fulham. And here's the big one, chat. It's a big one for City versus Scummers, champions versus the FA Cup holders. Need I say more? The Etihad will be absolutely rocking on that day, I imagine. And of course, it'll be a nice, dark, wintry afternoon on the 14th of December. Newcastle, Leicester. Big match for Leicester. Forest, Villa. Every match is a big match for these newly promoted teams. And, it's going to be interesting. I'm certainly going to be keeping a track on Leicester, keeping a track on Ipswich, keeping a track on Southampton and see how they get on in the Premier League. I think it's going to be super interesting this year. Coming into December as well, I think there's going to be a little bit of a break after this, but don't quote me on that. I'll tell you just as it goes into Boxing Day, doesn't it? So no fixtures on Christmas Eve. It goes from 21st to 26th of December. Villa versus Man City, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Palace, Arsenal, Everton, Chelsea, Southampton, Ipswich, Newcastle, Leicester City, Wolves, Scummers and Bournemouth. Interesting fixture, massive fixture here for Spurs, and of course Liverpool. You know, the change of coach, change of manager, some fresh ideas for the liver birds. And is it going to pay off for them, or are they going to struggle this season? Now that Klopp's gone, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Liverpool. Do they get better or will they get worse? You let me know, chat, in what do you think will happen to Liverpool. Bournemouth, Palace, Arsenal, Ipswich, Brighton, Brentford, Chelsea, Fulham, Liverpool, Leicester, City versus Everton, Newcastle United, Villa, Forest versus Spurs, Southampton, West Ham, Wolves versus Man United. So quite a nice, straightforward one there. Interesting one for Ipswich. That's going to be a massive game for them. Bit of a London derby there as well in that game week. And I think the key one there is going to be this one: Forest and Spurs. Our Spurs going to manage? Are they going to be improved this year? Lost a lot of sloppy points last season, and they looked like they were going to be there or thereabouts in the first half of the season. But like other teams, they just faded away, didn't they? They kept dropping points, and you drop any point in the Premier League, and every point is valuable, 100%. Villa versus Brighton. Brentford, Arsenal, Palace, Southampton. Big match for Southampton there, and I think we'll probably have a better idea at that point whether another newly promoted side will survive in the Premier League. Everton, Forest, Fulham, Bournemouth, Ipswich, Chelsea. Massive fixture for Ipswich. Massive. And another one. Oh, my God. Ipswich versus Chelsea, Leicester versus Manchester City. I mean, imagine us lot being up there. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Having to go to these big grounds and stuff, big teams. Scummers versus Newcastle, up the Geordies. I'll be cheering you on that day, 100%. Spurs, Wolves, West Ham, Liverpool. That's a big fixture as well. A lot riding on that one. A little bit of a break there, by the look of it, chat. They've given a little break, and they've got them into the 4th of January. I think last season, didn't we? I mean, Leeds played New Year's Day, didn't they? And I think I was at Preston that day. So yeah, that was massive. Or was it 2nd of January? I can't remember. Anyway, what the hell? Bournemouth, Villa, Leicester, massive derby, that one. Brighton, Arsenal, Palace, Chelsea, Fulham versus Ipswich, and I think that's going to be a crucial game for Ipswich. Is that they're going to go there and hope to get something, but Fulham, as we know, they're a very good side at home, very hard side to beat, hard side to break down, and another massive fixture to start the new year off. It's Liverpool and the Scummers on the 4th of Jan. City, West Ham, Southampton, Brentford, Spurs versus Newcastle, Wolves versus Nottingham Forest. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I can't wait. It's going to be another exciting season of football, I think. Exciting if you're not a Manchester City fan. I think Manchester City fans are finding it a bit boring. We're always winning, mate. We're always winning. And yeah, whatever. 14th of Jan, massive London derby in January to get you over the Christmas hangover. Another one. Everton, Villa, Ipswich, Brighton, Leicester, Palace, and this is like a reduced match week. So what they're probably going to do there is have some on a Tuesday. There might be a couple. Yeah, there we are. Look, Wednesday. Chelsea versus Bournemouth, Newcastle versus Wolves. There's an 8 p.m. off there. They've made a special mention of that one. No time noted about the time. I think they're all 3 o'clock unless specifically noted normally. But like I say, this list is going to be updated multiple times as we go through the rest of this year, I think. Arsenal, Villa, Brentford, Liverpool, Chelsea, Wolves, 18th of January. This Everton, Spurs, Ipswich, Man City, Leicester, Fulham, United, Scummers. Yeah, I nearly said it there, didn't I? Brighton, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Forest, Southampton, and West Ham, Palace. So another good week there. And of course, if you're tuning in, of course, don't forget, help me out. Press that subscribe button and press that like button. I don't often say those things, but anyway, Saturday, 25th of January, Bournemouth, Forest, Villa, West Ham, Brighton, Everton, Palace, Brentford, Fulham, Scummers, Liverpool, Ipswich, City, Chelsea. Massive fixture that. The reverse fixture we discussed earlier on. Chelsea will be looking to try and pull one over or get something out of City. I think they struggled a lot, did Chelsea last season, but only towards end of season did Poch look like they had them playing well. Massive fixture for Leicester after travel to the Tottenham Stadium, as we know it now. Wolves, Arsenal as well. Right, banging on into February, chat. We're nearly there. Bournemouth, Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Brentford, Spurs, Chelsea, West Ham, Everton and Leicester, another big one. And then this, of course, two newly promoted sides. They're going to be looking. One of them's going to be looking for a win out of that one. Should be trying to get 3 points. I think the only way to approach it is in Premier League. You can't play for a draw. You've got to try and play for a win. And all this is about playing for a draw. Southampton will be going there hoping to pick up 3 points. It's a dangerous fixture for Ipswich. Scummers versus Palace, Newcastle, Fulham, Forest, Brighton, Wolves, and Villa. Massive fixture that Midlands derby. Of course, it's always a bit of a spicy one, I think. Following weekend, 15th of Feb, Villa versus Ipswich, Brighton, Chelsea, Palace, Everton, Fulham, Forest, Leicester versus Arsenal. Oh my God. You can only expect that Arsenal are going to win that. Liverpool, Wolves, City, Newcastle, Southampton, Bournemouth, Spurs, and the Scummers. Scummers down in London against Spurs. West Ham, come on, you Irons, against Brentford. 22nd of Feb, Bournemouth, Wolves, Arsenal, West Ham. There it is, massive London derby again. Villa, Chelsea, Everton versus Scummers, Fulham versus Palace, Ipswich versus Spurs, Leicester, Brentford. Whoa. City versus Liverpool. And that'll be a massive fixture. Another one of those massive fixtures that'll be everybody will be by then. Who's going to win the Premier League? It's a must-win game, and whoever wins it, that's it. They're a step closer to Premier League, bro. Of course they are. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But we're all presuming that City are going to win Premier League anyway. So Newcastle, Forest, Southampton, Brighton on that match week. 25th of Feb, Brentford, Everton, Brighton and Bournemouth, Forest, Arsenal, Spurs and City. Massive fixture. West Ham, Leicester. That's going to be a huge fixture for Leicester. And Wolves versus Fulham. There's another 8 p.m. kickoff here. Palace versus Villa as well. Okay. Then there's a Wednesday night fixture list. Oh my God, are you fucking kidding? What have they done that for? Chelsea versus Southampton, Liverpool versus Newcastle, Scummers versus Ipswich. Fancy putting two matches like that same time on a bloody Wednesday night. Making it hard. But I mean, if you think you've got it hard in Premier League, you should try going to Championship. I can only think of an handful of times where we played on a Saturday 3 p.m. During that season, last season. Fucking joke, absolute joke. I'm not a fan of these nighttime kickoffs, but they do it for the telly. They please the Americans. the American fans. It doesn't please the Asian fans because we have to get out of bed at like 2 a.m. or something like that to watch a game like that. Coffee. Good morning, everybody. Brentford, Villa, Brighton, Fulham, Chelsea, Leicester, Palace versus Ipswich. Oh, Ipswich. I don't fancy the chances, do you? Liverpool, Southampton, big fixture, and of course the one of those showpieces in the Premier League, Scummers versus Arsenal. I mean, a lot of people are going to be wanting to watch that one. Forest versus City, Spurs versus Bournemouth, West Ham, Newcastle, Wolves, Everton. All right, here we go then. Let's get through to the next one. March 15th, we're coming up towards the end now. I think final third or final quarter of the season. Bournemouth, Brentford, Arsenal, Chelsea, Villa versus Liverpool, massive fixture. Everton, West Ham, Fulham, Spurs, Ipswich versus Forest, Leicester versus Scummers. That's going to be an interesting one. Brighton have to travel to the Etihad. That's going to be an interesting match as well. How City will be, where will they be? They'll probably be sitting pretty at top of league by that point. Newcastle, Palace, and Southampton versus Wolves. A notable start here to April. It's on Tuesday. Oh my God! Bournemouth, Ipswich, Fulham, Arsenal, Arsenal, Fulham. Sorry, another London derby. Of course, it's going to be that's. I wonder if that's going to be like the Easter holiday. Then Forest and Scummers. I mean, we're talking a year in advance here, pretty much. We Wolves, West Ham, and of course they're going to change this around, chat. They're going to change this around. Let me see if I can just do that. Yeah, you've got that there. You can see that. So I'm just making sure you're all happy in the chat. Not much chat going on. Wednesday, the 2nd of April, Chelsea, Spurs. That's a massive fixture. London derby. Two teams who, well, especially Spurs. I mean, they never win bugger all, do they? And Chelsea will be looking to try and get a top 4 finish, I think, this season. City, Leicester. Massive match for Leicester. Newcastle, Brentford, Southampton versus Palace, and an 8 p.m. kickoff on a Wednesday night. It's the big one, the Merseyside derby. Liverpool versus Everton under the lights at Anfield. Right, okay, so there we go. Saturday, the 5th of April. So it's like a double game week, this, isn't it, Mark? Look of it. Villa, Forest, Brentford, Chelsea, Palace and Brighton, Everton versus Arsenal, Fulham versus Liverpool, Ipswich versus Wolves, Leicester City, Newcastle, and there's the Manchester Derby Part 2. It's on the 5th of April, chat. The one that a lot of people are probably looking for. When are we playing Scummers? When are we playing City? Spurs, Southampton, West Ham, Bournemouth, and Bob's your uncle for that particular game week. Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford, Leicester, Brighton. Have to travel to Brighton. Chelsea versus Ipswich, Liverpool, West Ham, Manchester City, Palace, Newcastle entertain Scummers, Forest entertain Everton, and Southampton play Villa. Massive fixture for Southampton, and by then, of course, we're going to know who's going down. I think the league will be really, really mature by then, I think, and it's going to be a case of if you're in bottom 3 by around this date, you've pretty much had it. So it's going to be an interesting April, I think. The following weekend is 19th of April, 2025. Villa versus Newcastle, Brentford, Brighton, Palace, Bournemouth, Everton and City, Fulham, Chelsea, Ipswich, Arsenal. Wow, Ipswich entertaining Arsenal there on that date. So again, massive fixtures for these newly promoted sides. They're gonna find it hard work, man. I'll tell you. Scummers versus Wolves, Spurs versus Forest, And the last one on that day, West Ham versus Southampton. 26th of April, Bournemouth versus Scummers. Arsenal, Palace, Brighton, West Ham, Chelsea, Everton, Liverpool, Spurs, City versus Aston Villa, Newcastle versus Ipswich, Forest versus Brentford, Southampton, Fulham, Wolves, Leicester. Chat, if you've got any fixtures you're looking out for, let me know. And of course, I'll try and highlight those and show you them. Just let me know and I'll easily pull them up and let you know when you're playing who you're playing when, what fixture is the most interesting for you. A lot of interesting fixtures. I don't think there are any boring fixtures really in this Premier League. All right, there are going to be the odd 0-0 and stuff like that, but overall, I think we're going to be looking for a really good season. Some 3 quality sides going up into Premier League. It's going to, they're certainly going to mix it up a little bit. Bottom 3, well, I'll talk about that in a minute or two. Arsenal, Bournemouth, Villa versus Fulham, Brentford, Scummers, Brighton, Newcastle, Chelsea, Liverpool, Palace, Forest, Everton versus Ipswich. This is 5th. Is that 3rd of May, did I say? Or 5th of May? 3rd of May. City versus Wolves, big London derby. It's West Ham versus Spurs. And we're nearly at the end of the season, chat. Bournemouth versus Villa, Fulham versus Everton, Ipswich, Brentford, Liverpool, Arsenal. Big match. And a lot of people will be wanting to watch that one. I think even the neutrals will be cheering on the favourite team, or perhaps you're a City fan and you're hoping that Liverpool are going to beat Arsenal or whatever. It depends how the league's looking at this point in the season. It's going to be exciting, isn't it? Whatever happens. West Ham travel to Old Trafford. Newcastle, Chelsea. Forest, Leicester. Southampton, Manchester City. Spurs versus Palace, another London derby there, chat. You expect Spurs to win, but don't write off Palace. Palace were the informed team in the last season. I don't think they dropped any points, certainly in the last 6 games. So that's going to be a tough match for Spurs, is that, I think. But anything can happen, can't it? Wolves, Brighton. Right, here we go. I think this is a final weekend, is it? 18th of May, Arsenal, Newcastle, Villa, Spurs, Brentford, Fulham, Brighton, Liverpool, Chelsea, Scummers. That's going to be a massive fixture. Palace versus Wolves, Everton, Southampton, Leicester and Ipswich. Of course, 2 promotion rivals there. They're going to be looking. One of them's going to be looking for the win. You've got to be thinking about the win every game, but specifically newly promoted sides need to be picking up the points against the rivals. City play Bournemouth, West Ham, Forest. All right. So here we go. This looks like it's the final weekend, chat, because they've noted here. Look, 4 p.m. kickoff. It means everybody's going to be playing on the final weekend, final day. There's going to be no split between in the match week. All of the games taking place on a Sunday, and I imagine those will probably end up on Red Button, won't they? And you'll be able to just pick and choose what game you watch. I might even fancy going to a Premier League game if Leeds aren't playing, of course. But you never know. We could always think about that. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be a nice thing to think about. Bournemouth versus Leicester, Fulham, Manchester City. Manchester City, interestingly, away. So if they are crown champions, they're not going to be at home for the celebration or for the lifting of the Premier League crown. Ipswich, West Ham, Liverpool versus Palace. Oh, the bogey side, Crystal Palace for Liverpool over years. I think Scummers versus Villa, Newcastle, Everton, Forest, Chelsea, Southampton versus Arsenal, Spurs versus Brighton, Wolves versus Brentford. And that is your 2024-2025 season wrapped up. Just a recap. Scubbers versus Fulham is the first match, and that's on Friday the 16th of August, chat. All right, Friday the 16th of August. So make sure you've got your got stuck in for that one. I'm sure you're going to be. Who's going to win it? Well, I think I can only see one winner. I can only see it being City at the minute. Arsenal, I mean, Arteta is a bit of a prat anyway, but I think he the way he conducts himself on in technical area, I don't know. I mean, he's got the experience now, hasn't he? He's taken them. He's run it close twice as Arteta. Is it the third time of asking for Arsenal? I possibly think, get your early doors bets in. Arsenal could be a good shout to win the Premier League. Perhaps he hasn't won it every season. He's been the manager and Pep. Maybe it is a time for a bit of a change. They're going to have a few changes coming up in the squad. Of course, there could be FFP getting involved, PSR getting involved. City could be in a bit of bother. So yeah, Arsenal, I think would be a good tip. Liverpool, you expect them to be there or thereabouts as well. Bottom three, difficult. I think Forest are going to struggle, perhaps out of that little bunch. I think again, I think they're gonna be going down. I think Leicester will probably. Depends on this new manager that they've got in. Of course, the old manager, I think, is gone, hasn't he? By the sound of it. So the guy who got him promoted, just forget his name. He's another prat anyway. But let's have a. Who's the other two that could possibly go down? Everton need to be careful. They need to be very careful because I think these three new promoted sides, I think two of them will stop up. I think possibly Southampton would be relegated. Ipswich, I mean, I don't know. It's a difficult one, chat. Difficult to predict. Very early to predict. Maybe we'll have to have a prediction stream. Let me know if you want to come on to stream or anything like that, and we'll talk about those. So all you need to do, get to this page, chat. If you fancy, if you want to go in there, get yourselves your calendar downloaded. Link is there in the chat. A lot of we've literally just run through the entire season. All right, we've just run through the entire season, discussed it. Of course, European spots, I think probably the say is going to be the big four, isn't it? I think probably Manchester City, Liverpool will be there. Scummers will probably be there, and I think Chelsea will probably be there. I don't think there'll be any room for Spurs. I don't think there'll be any room for Newcastle in those Champions League spots. But they're probably worth the Euro Cup spots. And of course, I haven't even mentioned Villa. Champions League side this season. They're going to be traveling, hopefully gallivanting all over Europe and getting themselves through the qualification rounds, and hopefully they can get in and let's see plenty of Villa on TV in the Champions League. I think that'll be a nice refreshing change. See how that manager Emery does with them. I think he's a good manager, bloody good manager, and I think he'll be. I think they could be a bit of an underdog to do really well, a bit of a dark force in the Champions League this season, chat. You let me know what you think. Right, okay, so I think we're just about done with that one. Who does each team face on Boxing Day 24-25? Well, I'll tell you that now. Okay. Let's see this one here. Yeah, there we go. Of course, everybody loves to go to the football on a Boxing Day. Here are your Boxing Day fixtures if you've not seen them. I'll go through here. And there we are. Look at that, eh? Oh, wow. Right, don't worry about the kickoff time, chat. That's because that's my local time, right? So it would be, by then, it'll be a 3 p.m. kickoff, I think, for those fixtures on Boxing Day. Ipswich travel to Arsenal. That'll be an interesting watch. Vitality Stadium hosts Crystal Palace, so that's a big fixture for Bournemouth. Brighton versus Brentford. Chelsea versus Fulham, 10 p.m. kickoff on that one. Anfield will host Leicester City, massive fixture for Leicester, and I think you can only see Liverpool winning that. City versus Everton, well, there's only one winner in that, I think. Newcastle Villa, Forest Spurs, and Southampton versus West Ham. Wolves versus Scummers. Arsenal at home to Ipswich Town. The first time the two sides will meet in the competition since, get this, chat, April 2002, when the Gunners secured a 2-0 win at Highbury. Lots of little tidbits for you to talk about. Other promoted teams with tough trips are Leicester City, who travelled to Liverpool, where they lost 2-1 2 years ago, courtesy of 2 own goals from Fez. Well, Fez. Poor lad. I mean, 1 own goal's bad enough. Speaking of own goals, well done, Max Wober, for pretty much handing the qualification to France last night. That was a well done to you, Wober. Pratt. Dear, I don't know. Let me know. Of course, I'll be doing a live later on. We'll be talking about the Euros. I think there's another. I think this is the final day in game day or match day 1 fixtures, isn't it? So I'll just tell you a little bit about them. I think Turkey are playing tonight. So let's have a look. Oops, it is. I need a. Oops, it is. Just cop that up. So there we go. Matches. Now, of course, some of you have entered into my Dream Team League, so I'll keep you posted on that later on today. We'll be doing another live later on, and today's fixtures are it's just Georgia versus Turkey. All right, that's an 11 p.m. kickoff for me, so a bit of time to prepare for that one. I'll just share the screen with you, just in case you are interested in the Euros. Let's have a little look at that. There we are. It's been a really interesting. I'm going to might do a video for this, actually, to be honest with you. It's Turkey versus Georgia, right? Tomorrow. For me, this is tomorrow, right? Because it's adjusting the clock. Tomorrow we've got another fixture here. This is in this match day. It is. It's Portugal versus Czechia. Right. Hope you enjoyed the live stream, guys. I hope you enjoyed me talking about the Premier League. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to end this one right here. Of course, I want you to remember, if you're struggling, I've got a phone ringing here. Someone's ringing me, so I'm going to sort that out. Like, subscribe, and share, and help me grow the channel. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.